This is The Wire for 2300 Zulu, November 3rd, 2025. Precedence is routine. Information cutoff is 2200. Bottom line up front. 2-day knife attack spree culminates in mass stabbing on train in United Kingdom. Passengers and crew do their best to halt the attack. Federal judge orders SNAP funding to materialize. Golden Hindu idol 15 stories tall to be constructed in rural North Carolina. Beginning with international events, in the United Kingdom, on Saturday, a mass stabbing was carried out on a train bound for London from Doncaster. 10 people remain in critical condition as a result of the attack. The assailant has been identified as Anthony Williams. A separate individual who may have also been involved in some way was arrested at the scene. This individual has not been identified, but authorities have stated that he is of Caribbean descent. Police also tased one man on the platform after the train arrived at the station. However, this was a case of mistaken identity, and the tased man was released without charge. On the home front, in North Carolina, local concern has emerged following plans to build a massive Hindu temple in the small town of Moncure, just west of Holly Springs. This extremely large and sprawling complex is planned to have a golden idol that will be roughly 155 feet tall, 1 foot taller than the Statue of Liberty. This project was announced earlier this year but has gained notoriety as the construction plans move forward. Analysts comment. Small towns and historically Christian rural areas are often targeted for the construction of golden idols due to the ease of bribing and influencing local officials to obtain permission to build commercial facilities. In this case, Moncure is an extremely small town that doesn't really engage in any zoning. They leave it to the county to decide. So it's easy to pencil whip the rezoning of private residential property to allow for the construction of a pagan idol that will dominate the terrain for dozens of miles. This idol is not even built yet. The area slated for its construction is still undeveloped land. However, to the surprise of literally no one, it's already featured heavily in the Google search results for Moncure, North Carolina, as the top tourist destination for the town. Hindus have already spammed the reviews for the structure that doesn't exist yet, giving it top marks and praising the facility as great to visit, with the owners of the place celebrating the fake reviews of a non-existent facility while simultaneously admitting that the facility doesn't exist yet. In Washington, D.C., U.S. District Judge John J. McConnell Jr. has ordered the White House to ensure that emergency funds are used for the SNAP program, stating that, quote, the USDA must distribute the contingency money timely, or as soon as possible, for the November 1st payments to be made. End quote. Analysts comment. That brief description was more or less the entire order, which was oral in nature. However, a lot of other things have to click into place to make this order come to fruition, especially due to the complexities of the judiciary ordering the executive to do something that is technically the job of the legislative. Despite the very obvious problem with this arrangement, the issue is now tied up in court, effectively stalling the distribution of at least some electronic deposits. However, some EBT recipients have reported getting their funds as they have before, so it's not clear as to what funds are being dispersed or to whom. Analyst comments for this wire. The train stabbing attack in the United Kingdom is one of the most significant attacks in recent British history. A major incident was declared and a Plato response was initiated, which is the colloquialism for an active terror attack in progress. The details of the attack itself are not entirely clear, but at the moment the eyewitness statements indicate this one was ugly. A train car packed with people who cannot escape makes for an exceptionally vulnerable target for malign actors. Witnesses state that the attack took a long time to complete and that the stabbings were carried out over a period of 15 to 20 minutes. This was made worse by the fact that this mass attack was 100% preventable. The attack on board the train was actually the 4th stabbing attack conducted by Williams within a 24-hour period. Authorities have not confirmed anything. All of this investigative legwork is being conducted by private citizens as the British government has been silent on the matter. However, eyewitness statements indicate that Williams was likely the same man who stabbed a 14-year-old in Petersboro the day before, October 31st. That same day, Williams was observed brandishing a knife in a barbershop in Cambridgeshire. Williams was also suspected in stabbing a different man in East London on November 1st. In all prior cases, either the police did not investigate at all or did not circulate his photo or issue a bolo notice. This was quite literally a case of a madman with a knife stabbing anyone he liked over a period of 2 days before the final culminating attack took place on board the train. Concerning motive, this meets all definitions for being classified as a terror attack. However, British authorities have very adamantly stated that this isn't a terror attack. Trust is nearly non-existent with British authorities at this point, but the story told by the transit police is that this was a private dispute between two criminals which devolved into one of them attempting to stab the other. Due to the tight quarters of a packed train car, this resulted in everyone in the car becoming unwittingly involved. At the moment, this version of the story appears to be false for many reasons. First and foremost is the detail that Williams had already conducted 3 stabbing attacks prior to the one on the train. What started the incident inside the train car remains uncertain. However, once violence had been undertaken, the assailant tried to kill everyone on the train, and a general state of bedlam erupted as passengers fled up and down the train to escape the attack. This is confirmed beyond all doubt by the CCTV footage that was leaked, showing Williams pursuing passengers down the platform after arriving at Huntington Station. This is about as smoking gun as it can get, and confirms that the attacker did indeed attempt to target citizens deliberately, as opposed to people just getting in the way of a private murder attempt. As a reminder, there are at least 2 security cameras at each end of every car on the London North Eastern Railway trains, so footage of the attack, and importantly everything that led up to it, does exist. Since this footage probably won't be released, the most important witnesses to consider when trying to figure out what happened are those who at present cannot speak. The individuals still undergoing intensive medical treatment are the ones who are closest to the attack, and their testimony carries much weight. At the moment, there have been no fatalities, but prayers are strongly encouraged for the survivors to ensure their rapid recovery. More broadly, this attack highlights the extreme need for citizens who are not just prepared physically, but also mentally. Train driver Andrew Johnson became aware of the attack, and instead of stopping the train on the tracks, where police and medical would take some time to arrive, Johnson diverted the train to a different track, which would take the train into the next closest station, which happened to be Huntington, where police would be waiting, radioing ahead to ensure that the attack on his train could be stopped as soon as possible. One railway crew member on board the train, who has not yet been named due to being wounded, also displayed great courage by blocking the passage of the attacker, delaying his rampage down the train for a time, sustaining severe wounds in the process. Several passengers also carried out the time-honored tradition of using violence of action to take the fight to the attacker, all of whom were wounded during the attack. Stephen Crean was wounded while attempting to stop the attacker, along with several others who attempted to do the same, even though everyone except for the attacker was unarmed. In short, details may be hard to discern, but currently it looks like most people did the right thing. Those who could fight did so. Those who couldn't fled and attempted to warn other passengers down the train, as well as caring for the wounded. This attack proves once again that almost everything can be done correctly and the fight still be a hard one. Attacks will continue. This is unfortunately a certainty. If not from deliberately planned terror attacks, then from random outbursts of violence. But the first steps in the British reconquering their kingdom will be to foster a culture of using extreme violence to stop extreme violence. Not out of malice or hatred, but out of the desire to stop the harm to innocent people. For far too long, the British government has portrayed sheer survival instinct as hatred, which is pure gaslighting that couldn't be further from the truth. Attacks like this, while horrific, do a lot to show the British people that stopping a mass-murdering lunatic requires violence, and exercising this violence to protect the innocent is a good thing. As such, considering this rampage will be in the news cycle for a while, it will be absolutely crucial to applaud the actions of those who did what they could to stop the attack. Focusing on the horror of the day is easy but fruitless. It is a far, far better thing to focus on the good that was done, and try to improve the lessons learned for the challenging times ahead. They might not have been as successful as one would hope, but some gave it a try anyway and did the best they could, which is the most anyone can hope for and what we all should strive to achieve. This concludes The Wire for 2300 Zulu, November 3rd, 2025.